Thank you all for being here this morning. My name is Mrvan, and I'm the president of the Duneland Chamber of Commerce. Leadership and partnership are at the core of our mission at the Chamber, and they're essential to the success of the business community. As many of you know, the Duneland Chamber proudly represents 5 towns: Chesterton, Porter, Burns Harbor, Beverly Shores, and Dune Acres. And we advocate for over 450 businesses, ensuring their interests are represented. Today we are fortunate to have many candidates joining us, and we appreciate your cooperation in making this forum possible. We want to remind you that the Duneland Chamber is nonpartisan. We extend an invitation to all candidates, regardless of political affiliation, who are running for office in this election. Each candidate will have 4 minutes to speak, and our volunteer, Bob Capehart, will be timing each presentation and signaling for a 30-second warning. He's there in the back, followed by a stop sign when the time is up. We have high technology here. To keep things moving smoothly, please be prepared to come up to the podium when it's your turn, and we ask kindly that everyone silence their cell phones. Before we start, I'd like everyone to stand. We'll go ahead and face east, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning. I'd like to thank President Mandel, everyone from the Duneland Chamber, not only for what you do here, for the people that you employ, for the community outreach that you do, and also for being engaged and making a difference. I am Congressman Frank J. Mrvan, and today is an honor to be here. We have 5 weeks until the election. I am born and raised in Hammond. I was a township trustee, and as a member of Congress, I fight to create work and wealth. The infrastructure bill that we passed, that I co-sponsored, is something that is an advantage to Porter County because of the not only building bridges and building roads and adding to our infrastructure, but we also have the double tracking. The double tracking here in Chesterton is an economic tool that will bring in businesses. It put people to work, it created work and wealth, and many union men and women were able to provide for their families so that they can go to people who participate in the chamber. Next, with the infrastructure bill, we were able to create almost 10,000 construction jobs and create cleaner air and cleaner water with a hydrogen hub in BP. It's $1.5 billion investment that will create men and women and future generation jobs. And so these types of investments are important because it invests in our community so that people can buy a home, so that they can have health insurance, so that we can create jobs and work and wealth. And the hydrogen hub is important to our steel industry because they are going to use hydrogen instead of iron ore, so we have cleaner air, cleaner water, and less carbon. And we're creating jobs with a newer, greener energy, and the steel industry is able to thrive to create a longer and more productive way for the steel workers so that they have longevity in their jobs. Next is lowering costs. We had a piece of legislation, and I'm horrible at podiums. We had a piece of legislation that was the Inflation Reductionary Act. That lowered costs for people with health care. A great example was Melody. There was a Porter County event on last week that I went to. Melody was diagnosed with MS. Her prescriptions for MS were $2,500 a month. $2,500 a month. The Inflation Reductionary Act gave a cap for all Medicare patients, Part D, so that they only pay out $2,000. We also negotiate for the first time in history the pricing of drugs with Big Pharma so that patients and government saves money. So Medicare patients have access to health care. I have fought for funding for federally qualified health centers in our communities to provide health care, mental health access. And so lowering costs and providing for our seniors are vitally important. The next is the Veteran Honor the Pact Act. I am on the Veteran Committee. I'm ranking member of the Oversight and Investigation. But the Honor the Pact Act gives presumptive health care to veterans who had boots in the sand, who had exposures to fire pits. So all of these cancers, all of these diseases that veterans came back with, now they are getting presumptive health care and they don't have to fight for it. Even veterans from Vietnam who had exposures to Agent Orange and World War II to radiation are now getting health care. And what you need to know is if a veteran is now exposed and they have access to be able to increase their service-connected disability to 100%, their families also, their wives also provide for health care. So honoring and making sure our veterans are fulfilled in their promise is something that we have done. And so in 4 minutes, you can't talk about what you've done for a lifetime. But what I believe is worth fighting for is women's reproductive rights, making sure women have access. Currently, our speaker has a bill that is for a national ban and prevents women from getting access from FDA-approved medications for reproductive health. I have 2 daughters and a wife. I want to make sure we live in a country that honors everybody equally, creates equal opportunity for individuals, and it is inclusive for all of us to be able to have a seat at the table. My name is Frank Mrvan, and as the Duneland Chamber, I also voted for a piece of legislation was that the American Worker and Tax Plan that lowered taxes for small businesses. I crossed over in a bipartisan way and also voted for a child tax credit, blending a governing majority to make sure our communities thrive. I'm Congressman Mrvan, and I humbly and respectfully ask for your vote, and thank you for getting us all together. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the Duneland Chamber for this great opportunity to introduce myself to you. My name is Randy Niemeyer. I am a Lake County councilman, formerly a Cedar Lake councilman for 12 years, also served on Cedar Lake Redevelopment Commission. I'm a small business owner. I own a small trucking company called Niemeyer Milk Transfer Incorporated. I'm a father of 2 children. My daughter is a senior at the University of Alabama, studying nursing in her last semester, and my son is a factory worker. Very proud of our kids' choices to go into blue-collar professions. I'm also a truck driver. I've driven 3 million miles behind the wheel of a truck. It's kind of unique to be running for Congress to see someone like me up here speaking to you. Today, I'm not going to go through all the bullet points of the things that I want to do in government. Instead, I want you to know who I am and why I choose to serve. So when I go back in my life, there were people in my family that have served in government. None of them, though, were the inspiration that one woman was to me. My grandmother, Delphine. She's a 35-year cafeteria worker at Hanover Schools. She retired at the age of 70 and passed away at the age of 71 in 1993. I was 16 going on 17. And when we had her visitation, we had to have 4 visitations. Over 1,000 people came through to pay their respects for a simple cafeteria worker. The stories they told me were of her generosity and service and the inspiration that she had on their lives. Because she would take money out of her own purse and put it into the cash register to make sure that a kid that didn't have the money for lunch or breakfast had a hot meal at school. It was that moment in my life at 16 years old that I knew that public service isn't about a name on a sign. It's not about a title. It's not about an office. It's about what you do to make this place better than what you found it. So as I went forward in my life and went through my own illness in 2007 and 8, where I ended up in the hospital with a DNR in front of me, preparing for a major surgery, I said to myself, you know what, I can't wait anymore. It's time for me to jump in the ring and serve my fellow man and do something that makes a difference. So as I went through my public service that I've listed here, running for Congress this year is about that mission that my grandmother taught me, leaving it better than what we found it. As a small business owner, these last 4 years have been some of the hardest we've ever had. As a blue-collar worker and someone who's a middle-class person, it's been extremely difficult to get by. So in the name of my grandmother, Delphine, I took on this mission. Say, you know what, this is about service. This is about doing the right thing so that the people that follow us have a better platform than what we started with. And right now I can honestly say that that future doesn't look as bright as it did when I was a kid. So my job in running for this office is to convey that message to people, connect with folks, because the economic conditions and the cost of living, it knows no party. It only knows people that are struggling with it. So as I go forward in this campaign, my pledge to you is I will work every day as your servant to make sure that we're doing things for the entire region and the entire country that makes this place better than what we found it. And when I lay in that casket at the end of my journey, I want to know that I did my job and I made my grandmother proud. I'm Randy Niemeyer. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
My name is Dakotah Miskus, and I'm asking for your vote to represent Indiana's 1st District in the United States House of Representatives.
Good morning. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank the Duneland Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum. It's an honor, even though I can't be here in person today, but I'm excited to talk to you about the future that we can build together. First, I want to make something clear. While I'm running as a libertarian, my focus has always been on one thing: the people. Too often, politicians talk about business rights, but to me, it's the workers, the families, and everyday Americans who matter most. It's time we prioritize you, your rights, your future, and your opportunity to thrive. I understand the challenges that we all face. Like many of you, I've lived through the struggles of living paycheck to paycheck, and I've worked with the public for over 10 years, so I've heard plenty of struggles. I know what it's like to worry about whether the next check will be enough to cover rent or groceries or the bills that somehow just keep piling up, but here's the truth. I believe that we have the power to change that. I believe that we can create a future where opportunity is within reach for everyone and not just a top few. Our leaders in Washington have lost touch with what truly matters. They've become disconnected from the reality that millions of Americans face every day, but I haven't. I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, and that's why I'm confident that we can come together and build something better, a system that works for the many and not just for the wealthy few. We need leaders who are going to stand up for you, not for the interest of big corporations. So I believe we need to protect the rights of all people, including women and the LGBTQ community, and make sure that unions have the strength to fight for workers. We need to work towards eliminating income taxes for anybody making less than $50,000 a year. Hardworking Americans shouldn't be taxed into poverty. Instead, we should be holding large corporations accountable. Corporations that rake in billions of dollars but contribute little to society. As the grandson of a former assistant police chief of Hammond and the nephew of a former police officer and the brother of a police officer and veteran, I know what public service means. It's about standing up for what's right, even when the decision is hard. It's about dedicating yourself to the people, no matter the challenges you face. That sense of duty is at the core of who I am, and it's why I'm here today, to fight for you and the values that will guide us to a better tomorrow. We can build a stronger nation by investing in our people, and not in endless foreign conflicts. And instead of sending billions overseas, let's focus on tackling homelessness and hunger right here at home. Let's make sure our veterans are taken care of and our communities have the resources they need to thrive. And let's bring down our national debt by ending unnecessary wars and making sure corporations pay their fair share. I believe in progress. I believe in a future where everyone has the chance to succeed, where personal liberties are protected, and where we build a system that works for everyone and not just those at the very top. I'm not a career politician. I've lived through the same struggles we all face, and I want to be your voice in Washington. Together we can make real, lasting change, and together we can create a future that's bright for all of us and not just a privileged few. I'm here to fight for you and your rights and livelihoods and the better future that we all deserve. I want to thank you all for listening, and I just want to remind everybody to register to vote if you haven't, and go and make sure to vote and take a friend with you. It's important.
Time I was here, I did the worst speech I've ever done in my entire life. And that look people give you like, okay. So anyway, let's try not to do that again. You know, let me piggyback off of something that Frank Mrvan, our Congressman Frank Mrvan, talked about. One of the things he talked about is that they managed to make sure that veterans get the benefits they need from the different Agent Oranges and the different burn pit, all of that stuff. As a psychologist, all the way up into July, I was still working, doing those evaluations for those veterans. And I was wondering why my caseload was totally full of veterans coming in, getting those evaluations. And as a psychologist, I'm reminded that not everything has a mental health component to it. So while they had physical problems, there were also mental health problems that are connected to that. Depression, anxiety, wondering about what's going to happen to their children and their grandchildren when they're gone. worried about what's going to happen to their bodies, what's that's going to mean. Are they going to have the care that they need later on to take care of them as they decline because of various cancers, because of various things that were happening in their bodies? Because of the fact that they can't hear very well, they also have depression because guess what? They're not connected to their communities. They're not listening, hearing the conversations. And when you can't hear the conversations, there's a lot of things that happen there. Depression for one, and then dementia sets in as well because you're only hearing part of it. So these are the type of questions and evaluations that I've been doing along with working in prisons that I've been doing for the last 30 years of my career. So when I go to Washington, D.C., when I go to do things as your new senator, all of these questions will be coming into play. How does it affect us mentally? How does it affect us physically? And how does the economy affect our environment? When I come in front of a place like the chamber, the people from the chambers, I know these are so many economic questions. I can't wait to get over this campaign thing because I want to get to the same questions that you guys have. Who owns the windmills? Who owns the solar panels? Who's getting that energy? Where is that money flowing to? Is it to our benefit? How are we going to survive this? Is it going to leave pollution? Are we going to be dealing with coal ash? What's going to happen to future generations? And I'm also looking at what's going on with our schools. Are we able to accept the new technology? Are we able to get our children prepared to take the big paying jobs instead of the little paying jobs? And it's not lost on me that we're dumbing down our children and trying to make sure that their education is cut off at age 8th grade, right? It's not lost on me. So what kind of jobs are we going to be connected to, right? The other thing too, what kind of industry and what type of plants and industry is going to come here if our healthcare is not stable? If women have to worry about their healthcare needs, if women have no OBGYN to come to, who can we bring to Indiana? How can we make sure that we're a thriving economy going forward? I have the same questions you all have, but I'm going to Washington, D.C. knowing that we can find solutions to all of these things. We can make win-win situations without losing our forestry, without polluting our air any longer, without losing our children and turning them into poverty situations for the rest of their lives. I can't wait to be your senator. I can't wait to get to Washington, D.C. with those questions. I'm Dr. Valerie McCray, and I will be your next senator for 2024 in Indiana. Thank you very much.
Hello from Freedom, Indiana. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I hope you will contact me through horningforsenate.com, Twitter, Facebook, or my publicly available address and phone number. We the people can't afford to be silenced and suppressed anymore. We need to talk. Hi, I'm Andrew Horning of horningforsenate.com, the Libertarian candidate for U.S. Senate and author of Relighting the Torch. Since I have very little time, I'll assume you know our country's an internally divided mess. Our actual national debt, including the unfunded Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid liabilities that incumbents will not address, is well over $200 trillion now. Yet we've funded and trained and armed both sides of every violent conflict, many of which we created ourselves, all over the world. We're bleeding money out of the country, and here at home wasting it on cronyism and increasingly corrupt politics. We've had growing border problems since, frankly, the Reagan administration, but now we're literally paying and transporting in, by air as well as land and sea, unscreened foreigners, many of whom are mad about what we did to their homelands and families. And some have been voting. All our constant loss of rights and wealth has been getting worse and worse under both Democratic and Republican parties. But let's focus on the good news. Our Declaration of Independence says that, quote, mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed, unquote. Have we suffered enough? Are we ready to abolish the corruption to which we've become accustomed? In spite of warnings from our founders, as well as heroes like General Smedley Butler, presidents like Truman, Eisenhower, and Kennedy, and of course libertarians like Ron Paul, nearly all of us had been voting for the same crony puppet show parties and career politicians we all know to be corrupt and tearing us apart. Now, thank God, we the people are waking up. While you'll never hear this in the establishment's media, there are now hundreds of libertarian office holders across the USA, with over 20 just here in Indiana. People are starting to understand that our votes are our weapons of peaceful revolution, so that we don't have to have the other kind. I'm the only constitutionalist in this race. I'm certainly the only choice to oppose the corrupt system the others have chosen to represent. And I'm already on the general election ballot for 2024. So before you cast your votes, please look me up at horningforsenate.com. Please ask all the candidates tough questions and expect full and honest answers. If we want to change anything for the better, we have to first change our votes. Have a great day, and please be free.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here and for allowing me to speak to you again. My name is Leslie Nuss Bamesberger, and I'm running to be your next state senator for District 5. It's been 6 months since I've been here, and some things have changed, but some things have remained the same. I'm still running for office because I want Indiana to be a better place where all are welcome and all are cared for. I'm still running because I want Hoosiers to have clean air, clean water, and healthy soil. I'm still running because I know that when we fully fund our public schools and pay our teachers well, our communities, including our rural communities, do better, we are stronger, and our children thrive. And I'm still running because we need more women in the State House, moms and wives like me, so that our voices are heard. I'm still running for Hoosiers who don't want women and girls to be harmed by a super majority that doesn't care that the Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm, applies to women and girls too. My opponent shrugged when I told him how easily I could have bled to death during a miscarriage, leaving behind 2 children, one who has multiple special needs. Women need to be able to get the health care they need when they need it, and not force the men in our lives to stand idly by and unable to help. But something new has come to light. A $700 million fraud. That's right, $700 million of Medicaid fraud that our supermajority refused to do anything about. And I want to know, should we be giving a pass to white-collar crime? Especially when Medicaid is for the vulnerable, our seniors, our children with special needs, and those who need our help the most. But you know what happened next. This same supermajority voted to eliminate attendant care to make up for this deficit. Attendant care, a program that prevented families who care for the most medically fragile children from sinking into poverty. And my opponent is the head of the Health and Human Services Committee. But I know that when we care for all, including the vulnerable and our seniors, we thrive as a community, and we create safe spaces where the economy works, where businesses and doctors want to be, and we have a state that holds on to jobs, our educated children, and that create even more jobs. I've been honing my skills as an advocate for many years. I got my start by advocating for children with special needs. And I want to be your advocate for your children, for your future, to help all of us be our best selves and for a bright future together. You deserve more Porter County. And I'm the person you want as your next state senator because I care. So remember, when you fill out the ballot, it's Nuss for us, for all of us. Thank you.
I am Erika Robinson-Watkins. Really excited to be here this morning, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to stand before you. I am a first-time candidate. I am running for State Representative District 4. and I am so excited about it. Whoever would have thought that Erika would put her name on a ballot? She did. I am the epitome of the saying when a woman says, when she thought she could, she did. I thought I could, so I have. I placed my name on that ballot because I truly believe in the value of people. I care about the things that people naturally care about. And when I say to you, I'm a candidate that does not have a cushion, a wealthy pocket whatsoever. I literally work 40 hours a week and give up my evenings and my weekends so that I can campaign. But I'm lucky today. Today is an off day. So I get to work really, really hard today. And I'm gonna really knock on a lot of doors today so that my presence continue to be known. The things that I value are the things that when you think about this country, and we have the freedom to make choices and the freedom to be able to stand because people have served and worked so hard. I'm mindful that there are women who I absolutely adore. And I see the strength. Men, I'm not saying that you're not strong. But what I am saying is that women are wise and strong enough to make decisions for their bodies. And we are wise and strong enough to choose doctors that we trust that in a situation will help guide us in the right direction. I am also valued that doctors who want to work in Indiana can stay here and not be concerned about judgment because they've made a decision for their client. This is the type of community that we want to live in. I value education. The reason that I brought my family here to Valparaiso area is because I value public education as an educator, bringing and giving my children an opportunity to be able to fight. Clearly, I look different. Clearly, I was wise enough to come from a small city of East Chicago, come to Valparaiso because I knew that there was an opportunity for my children, and they are thriving. They are 21 and 18 years old, one attending Tennessee State in Nashville and HBCU, and my son who is now at Arizona State, both majoring in business. I value working class people because what happens is when we support those who are working hard, they have an opportunity to give for their families and be mindful that they get to rest easy when it is retirement time. These are the things that I value. When you value people, you value this country. Not business, not infrastructure, but where Indiana does well, we do well in business and infrastructure. Where we don't do well is when we're dealing with people. Our women are struggling. Our doctors are having a difficult time making decisions. Our healthcare is struggling. And when you look at where we rank in Indiana, we are at the bottom of the totem pole. And everybody, I'm sure that's in this room, you all are winners. And winners like to rise to the top and definitely not to the bottom. Indiana, 50th in natural resources, 50th in air and water quality, 50th in voter turnout, 43rd regarding our healthcare. We're at the bottom, guys. This is not where Indiana deserves to be. When you elect people who genuinely care about people, check your records. When you genuinely care about people, you make changes. You make changes where everybody has an opportunity to stand and be observed, be willing, be served. Because as public servants, we serve. We are not politicians. That's the difference. Please consider me, Erika Watkins, to serve as your next state representative, District 4. Thank you.
Sorry, I need the mic. Good morning. Thank you very much to the Duneland Chamber for doing this. Thank you very much for all of you to show up today early this morning. I'm not a morning person. I'm Pat Boyd. I am serving right now as state representative for District 9, which includes Chesterton and Jackson Township in Porter County and a section of LaPorte County as well. I began my journey by running for running for city council after I helped to save a wetland in my neighborhood. I didn't do it myself, but I was taught to do it. I served for 15 years, and I was talking about limiting my term to 16 years, and then I was asked to run for state representative because Scott Pilat retired. I was retired in 20, I don't know. I turned 65 and I retired. I'm long since been retired, except I'm not. Working in the State House is a very interesting job. It's a very tiring job. It's rewarding when you can see that you've done something. It's frustrating when no one wants to listen to what you're talking about. We have, like Erika said, we have the 50th, we are 50th in the nation for voter turnout. That's inexcusable. It's so easy to register to vote and to vote. You've got open polling places all over the county that you can go to. You can go to any one of them on election day. And there is early voting for the entire month beforehand. Education is a problem in this state. We have a school budget that comes from taxpayer money, from property taxes. It is a static, more or less, budget. Every year it might go up a little bit, but every year they take more and more out for school vouchers. The vouchers this year were $1.6 billion taken straight out of the school budgets. That really shortchanges our schools. It goes to private schools, religious schools, and our teachers are struggling. Our schools are struggling, and our Constitution says that we must have public schools. Our Constitution also says that you cannot make any kind of law that applies only to one group of people, that gives one group of people more than another group. And that is what they did when they did the abortion bill. I am not a fan of abortion, but I am a fan of women's rights and women's choices about their own bodies. It's just unconscionable that someone would put a doctor in prison for trying to save a woman's life. And I find it very hard to believe that this is the right thing to do. I have had 3 miscarriages and a stillbirth. And each time I had to have a D&C, which is considered an abortion. It was a very traumatic thing for me, and I am 30 seconds left, okay. I would ask for your vote this fall. Elections start on October 8th for early voting. If you need, if you know someone who needs transportation or cannot get out of their house to vote, you can call the courthouse and ask for a traveling board to get your, to get a board of 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, and okay, thank you. They bring a traveling board to your house. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Joel Florek. I'm running for state representative for District 9. I live over on the east side of Michigan City out in the county. I'm married. I have 4 young children that we're raising here in Indiana. I originally grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My wife and I met while we were going to college, and this is where we chose to raise our family. We believe in this area. There's so much opportunity ahead and available, and you know, for myself, for my family, and where I want to raise my kids. But I'll be very honest, I have been disappointed with some of our leadership in our district. I feel like our voice isn't being heard down in Indianapolis for District 9, and I want to be the person who steps forward to change that and make sure that we have a strong voice down in Indianapolis to get resources, to fight for important projects for our region, to make sure that we can be moving forward in the right direction. An important thing for me to be fighting for in our district coming up is going to be the Michigan City Prison Project. Right now, there's no plan from the state as to what happens with that facility after that shuts down. I'm in the real estate industry. I've seen what happens to communities when you let large industrial facilities or factories, you know, big structures become abandoned within a community. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. I want to make sure that Michigan City can move that 100+ acres onto its next and best use for our area, that it doesn't become an abandoned draw for crime or other issues. So I've made it clear that I'm going to be fighting for that down in our state house. My wife and I live in this area because we love Lake Michigan. We love our waterfront, we love our lake shore. I'm going to be an advocate for making sure that we're fighting for resources to protect that waterfront. We have to keep attracting jobs in building our economy, we can never compromise on that wonderful resource that we have here in our region. I've worked over the last 10 years to build a business throughout northern Indiana and Michigan. I'm very blessed to have a great team of employees that I can trust to take on the day-to-day operations of my business, so that way I can commit my energy to working to be the best representative I can for our district here in northern Indiana. So with that said, I would certainly appreciate your voice. I'm looking to be that stronger representative for our area and looking forward to getting results for our district. Thank you.
Some of you know me and some of you don't. I was a teacher at Chesterton for almost 20 years. My name's Jeff Larson. I've lived in this community for 63 years. I've enjoyed all the information we've got today. If Bob DeRuntz would have left, I'd be the most handsome man in here, but he's still here, so I guess I can't say that. I'm here because I'm running for State Rep District 10. I've been involved in politics for quite some time. I really enjoy the camaraderie, but there's a lot of things that are going on in our communities and abroad, and actually in a national level, that aren't really setting well with me. And there's a lot of things that we need to have serious talks about that aren't being talked about. And you know, one of them here in our local community is taxes. We have had the lowest rate. I served on the council for a long time, and we used the funding from the hospital to supplement our budgets. But at some point, that's not gonna work. And so we need to have some hard discussions that we're not currently having. As a state rep, I think I can connect those pieces together with local and state government. And that's something that we need to continue to focus on. If we don't elect quality leaders that are doing functions like that, we're not gonna get results in our community. And we have certain parties that are in charge. I'd like to say that everybody works together, but we know that if we go down to the state Senate, 40 of them are Republican and 10 are Democrats. We have an uphill battle in any position we're working from. And so the more information we gather, the more time we can spend doing those services, and the more we can provide for our people here, that's gonna benefit us as a community. And so we do need quality people in those roles, and we need people that are forceful enough to take our concerns downstate and either get them put into law or get results. And so that's why I'm here today. I've watched our community kind of miss money on serving on NERC boards and other things that we could have accessed, and we haven't. And it's either because we won't speak up, or we're uninformed or ill-informed. And so those things need to be important. I was recently down in Banner Elk, North Carolina. If you guys have watched the news, those communities have had flooding. They call it biblical flooding. And if you've never seen a disaster like that, firsthand I can tell you, if you don't have teams in place to respond to help those individuals, the tragedy is 1,000 times worse than it could be. And so we have to know who's in charge. We have to know why they're there, what their role is, and how do we respond to those things. I saw people at local level government asking questions as, how are we getting help? Who do we call? Where do we respond to? Who is our rep or our person in charge here? They're lost, and rightfully so. What a disaster. But when things are in place and things work properly, we understand who to go to. And so those are the vital roles. We're gonna need investment in safety here. I've talked to Jeff Ballin on many occasions. We need to expand our role there. We've got taxes that we're gonna have to talk about. We have civil service issues that we're gonna need volunteers for. We need more support services for the VA. You know, I've always been an advocate. We opened a second office here in Porter County when I was on the council. And so there's a lot of things that are gonna be an issue that we're facing here immediately. I don't wanna bring politics in from the national level to the local level, because we've always done a great job choosing candidates. And I still advocate for that. The best candidate for the best position is always the best choice. So I'm Jeff Larson. I'm running for State Rep District 10. I'd sure appreciate your vote. Have a great day. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I want to begin by thanking the Duneland Chamber for the opportunity for all of the candidates to be able to come out this morning so you can hear what they have to say and learn a little bit about them, and hopefully they can learn something about you and why you're here and what you're interested in, seeing them be able to do to make your life and your family's lives a little bit better. So I'm State Representative Chuck Mosley, and I am the state representative for every one of the 10th district in the state of Indiana. But I don't want to talk about me this morning. I want to talk about you. And the thing I want to talk about is, obviously, particularly by the turnout you see here this morning, there is a lot of interest in this year's election. A lot of activity, a lot of participation, a lot of people getting involved that have never gotten involved before. I think that's fantastic. But because of all of this activity and because of this interest, we have to have a conversation about something. Indiana historically has always had one of the lowest or the lowest voter turnout in the United States. That is not a very good reflection on our state and our values and what we believe to be important to us as Hoosiers and what we want to strive for in the future that's going to be good for our families and our future generations. So what are we going to do with all of this interest and all of this activity that's going on in this election cycle? How are we going to tap into that and turn that into eliminating Indiana as having the worst history of voting in the United States? It has to be done. It's a shame and it's an embarrassment for all of us as Hoosiers, all of us as taxpayers, and all of us that want to see something better for the kids that are coming along after us. And we want to try to leave the state a little better than we found it. We can't do that with that kind of voter turnout history that we've experienced in the last several election cycles here in this state. So how are we going to do that? Well, it's not going to just have to come from the candidates that are on the ballot. We all know that. We have some former candidates that are sitting in the room here this morning that can tell you that it's never worked. We need people like you who care about their futures and care about these elections to try to make this a better state for everybody. So what it's going to take to turn this enthusiasm into action is for us all together to put our campaign hats on and put our get out the vote hats on at the same time. You need to talk to your neighbors. They do want to know what you think. You need to lean over the fence when you're mowing the lawn on Saturday and say, hey, I don't care who you vote for, just make sure that you vote. So it was important for me to come here today, this morning, to be able to say to you, if you're going to take the time to come out and learn, take your knowledge out onto the street, help the candidate of your choice to make Porter County and the state of Indiana and the United States a better place to live. That's all I have today. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Dan Whitten. For those of you who don't know me, I am running for South County Commissioner seat here in Porter County. I first of all want to thank the Duneland Chamber for, again, like everyone else's, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share our views, to share some thoughts, and a platform where we can have some dialogue. You know, as I stand up here today, I just wanted to lead off by saying I've spent nearly my entire adult life in some form of public service. I'm a veteran of the United States Army, where I served 2 tours in the Middle East as a helicopter flight medic. I spent many years as a police officer serving my community. And more particularly to Porter County, I spent 16 years on the Porter County Council, the majority of which I was its chairman and president. During my time on the County Council, I served on the South Shore NICTY Board, the Porter County Plan Commission. I incorporated and served as the chairman of the Porter County Government Foundation, which has created millions of dollars of opportunity for our county. As an attorney, I represented cities and towns, particularly to this group, Dune Acres, for many years. And I was a school attorney and still am, actually. I grew up in Portage, so I'm born and bred here in Porter County. But more particular to the chamber, I'm a small business owner. My wife Stacy and I, my law partner and life partner, she loves when I say things like that, have a law office both in Portage and Maryville. So as that, wearing that mantle, I understand the challenges that small business owners face. We need an affordable, business-friendly community and county and government. We need to create and maintain a good, solid job force, something that a lot of small business owners are experiencing now is a exit of good opportunity employees and prospective workers. But more importantly, back to my initial thought, I believe that public service is just that, the service of others. I've lived my life with a very simple principle, that a life lived serving others is a life worth living, right? I believe that fundamentally, as human beings, we have an absolute mandate to help one another along. And I've lived my life that way. I'm running for commissioner because I believe that our commission needs a good, balanced board. We need a checks and balances. We need alternate perspectives. I believe transparency comes first and foremost when governing anywhere, but particularly Porter County. In my 16 years on the county council, I can tell you not one time did I ever make a promise I didn't do my best to fulfill. And I can also tell you in 16 years, I never lied to somebody. Now that's extraordinary. Shouldn't be, but it is. As your next commissioner, we're going to get this county on track. We're going to have open, transparent discussions where the biggest stakeholder in those decisions, the absolute biggest stakeholder, is the public. Can you imagine? Cutting the public out of the decision-making process? What a disservice to those who put us in office. You won't get that from me. Your thoughts, your concerns, and your ideas will be forefront of my decisions. Self-service has no place in this position. Every decision that I ever make in public office is what's best for the public. It's public service, not self-service. If you entrust me with your faith, I will not disappoint you. If you give me the opportunity for this job, I'll make you proud. So thank you so much again for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Good morning, I'm James Coulter. I'm here to represent Commissioner Biggs this morning. Jim was unfortunately not able to be here due to a scheduling conflict with his work. So I'd like to say a few words on his behalf. The voters of Porter County have elected Jim 6 times now to the county office. They undoubtedly trust his experience, character, and unwavering commitment to our county, which is why they've supported him so many times throughout these years. He's a 7th generation Porter County resident, and his family's roots run deep in the Duneland community. His great-grandfather, Ira Biggs, was elected township trustee, serving from 1905 through 1909. He was also instrumental in building one of the first public schoolhouses in Liberty Township. His great-grandparents were one of the first pioneering families to settle in Porter County in early 1835. In what is now known as the Zane settlement in Liberty Township, Jim and his wife Carol have called Chesterton their home for the past 36 years. Jim holds a master's degree in public safety administration and a bachelor's degree in law enforcement. He is also a graduate of the University of Houston Law Enforcement Academy. During his tenure as county commissioner, he has played a vital role in helping keep Porter County one of the best places to live, work, and raise a family. So much so that Porter County was recently recognized as the 2nd fastest growing county in our state. During Jim's tenure as commissioner, a short list of his accomplishments include the renovations of our county courthouse, the North County Government Center, County Expo Center, and the Memorial Opera House. The County Board of Commissioners is also currently renovating our county's largest highway garage in Center Township. Both of these projects are critical to our county's ability to continue to provide core services to our residents. He also helped create the Porter County government's first HR department, within county government. He played a pivotal role in creating contemporary operations policies within our emergency 911 dispatching agency, as well as general employee policies and procedures. Jim has also helped usher in the creation of the Porter County Government Foundation, which was created with the sales proceeds of what had been our county hospital. The foundation's original investment was approximately $130 million. Still, through wise decisions made by foundation members like himself, it has now grown to approximately $200 million and has served as a benefit to our taxpayers by helping partially fund our emergency 911 dispatching system and many of our social service programs meant to help our senior citizens, as well as our children and mental health issues and school attendance and performance problems. Jim is profoundly grateful to have had the opportunity to serve our residents as a member of the Board of Commissioners. If given the chance, he will continue to serve with the same passion and respect for our citizens for which he is known. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this. You know, there's not too many opportunities where everybody gets to hear all the candidates, and so I'm very appreciative of this. I'll introduce myself. I'm Dane Lafata, running for Porter County Commissioner, District 3. Served on the Chesterton Town Council for 9 years, and we've had a lot of successes on the Town Council in that time. We built a new police station, it opened up last month, and we can talk about the successes all day if you want, but what I'm here to talk about today is what I'll do as the Porter County Commissioner. I don't know when this happened or why it happened, but at some point, many of the elected officials all over have lost sight that we're elected public servants, and we're elected to serve the public. So with that in mind, my main goal will be to live up to the responsibility of being a public servant with openness and transparency. And I have 5 steps that I'm going to take to achieve that goal. The first step is I'm committed to hold at least 2 town hall style meetings each year. We just did one in Chesterton for my role on the town council. It worked out terrific. Audience members bounced ideas off each other. We talked, I learned some of their concerns, things I thought were going great. And at the end of the day, I became a better public servant because we had those. Number 2, I think it's essential that we're visible and well informed of what's happening inside the district. So I'm going to still attend town meetings, city council meetings, township meetings, so I know what's going on, so that they see a face for the county, so there's open communications. Number 3, there's still a ton of other meetings happening inside the county. So whether it's a group of concerned citizens or a governing body like a fire district, when asked, I'll attend those meetings. I know being the center of attention is never fun, it can be uncomfortable, but being available, I think, is essential. When the Chesterton residents heard there was a data center coming in, they held a meeting. I showed up to that meeting, and yeah, it sucked getting yelled at for what felt like hours. It really didn't get yelled at, but it felt like it. But it was essential to be there, to listen to their concerns, and then to act in their interests. Number 4, the easy one, I'm going to create a newsletter, have the agenda, have my notes on some of the agenda items so people know what's going on and can ask questions before the meetings. Number 5, 15 years I've ran a small business, and what I've learned is people appreciate knowing when you'll be available. So I'm going to have set office hours. We'll work the details on that. I'll always be available by appointment, by phone, by email, but I think having a set time where people know I can just stop in and talk to Dane, talk to the commissioner is important. So we'll do that. So those are the 5 steps I'm going to take to make sure that I'm open, transparent, and living up to the responsibility of being a public official. On top of that, I am going to make public safety a priority, including getting the ambulance service correct. Yeah. The ambulance service affects the entire county, and when the county's down to 3 ambulances, cities like Portage have to fill in and use their resources to help out the county. We need to get all the stakeholders together and start discussing the possible solutions, the needs, and the costs for the county ambulance service. And those talks need to be going on now. Now, they can wait till January 1st when I'm elected, but what we can't do is we cannot wait until the contract's almost up at the end of next year. We need to be discussing this now. Now, making public safety a priority and working towards solution is why the Chesterton Firefighters Local 4600 PAC, the Valparaiso Firefighters Local 1124 PAC, and the Portage Firefighters Local 3151 PAC have endorsed me for Porter County Commissioner District 3, and I'm honored by the trust they've put in me with that endorsement. As always, I'll be here after the meeting, and I'll stay until the last person leaves. If you want to talk to me, I'm here. If you're at home, 219-331-5942 or Dane Lafata at yahoo.com. Email me, call me, text me. Let's continue this conversation, and together we'll make Porter County better. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My daughter Becky just reminded me that I'm supposed to say my name before I start and when I end, as if I've never done this before. But I'm Jeff Thode. I'm your judge up in Porter Superior Court number 6. When I was first elected judge before the turn of the century, by the way, the two most often questions I was asked was, is it illegal to drive barefoot? And did you always want to be a judge? Well, the answer to the second question is no. I didn't always dream of being a judge. I didn't always plan to be a judge. It just kind of worked out that way. When I graduated law school in '85 from Valparaiso, opened a practice in Chesterton. 101 West Morgan Avenue was the address. I still remember the address. I cannot remember the phone number. Had a nice little practice, sole practitioner, and about 1992, the judges at the time came to me and asked if I would apply for their second probate commissioner, which was a new position. And similar to being a magistrate, I heard cases, made recommendations, and the judges more or less rubber stamped my recommendations. And that seemed to morph into this little crazy ride as being judge of Porter Superior Court number 6. I've been up there for the last 30 years. I must have convinced most of you that I'm halfway decent at it. I've been able to keep my job for these 30 years. As a judicial candidate and as a judge, and on top of all the other rules and regulations that new candidates all face, I am bound and governed by the Code of Judicial Conduct. It covers me as a judge. Covers me as a candidate, and there's a lot of things I can't do. And as a candidate, I can't personally ask you for any money. I can't make any promises to you. I can't lie to you. If I do any of those things, eventually I'm going to get in a whole lot of trouble. Now, as a judge, let me tell you what I can't do. I can't make a law. I can't make something that is illegal legal. I can't ignore the law. I can't read minds. And I can't solve all of your issues. What I can do, and what I do, is listen, and I apply the law to the facts of your case fairly and impartially. Been able to do that, again, for a long time. It's a busy court. Superior Court number 6 is a busy court. We have a heavy caseload. In fact, it's so heavy, a few years ago, I put my foot down. I told the ladies I work with no more than 50 cases on a Monday morning when I come in. That's all we can do. It's all we can do. So when I come in Monday morning and I see 80 cases on the docket, have they listened to me? No, they haven't listened to me. I've worked with them for 20 years. Of course they don't listen to me anymore. I've been married to Susan for 35 years. Does she listen to me? That's a rhetorical question for those of you who know her. After 35 years, do I listen to her? Yes, dear. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that when I show up to court in the morning and there's 80 cases on the docket, another 50 set in the afternoon, and they all have to get done. You can't just push them off and put them the next day. I got to roll up my sleeves and I have to go to work, and that's what I do. I roll up my sleeves and I go to work. So I'm trying to figure out how I can give you an example of what rolling up your sleeves and going to work means. So I'll refer to our campaign. My opponent is a slated candidate. She didn't run in the primary, so we didn't get notice of her entry into the race until the 3rd week of June, something like that. And Susan and I, we could have lamented for a while and cursed our bad luck, so to speak, but we didn't. We rolled up our sleeves, we went down to the basement, dusted out the old campaign playbook, updated it just a little bit, and we went to work. And I think you can see the fruits of our effort in the campaign if you've been following at all. So that's what I do. There's no secret to my job. I have no hidden agenda. I'll turn for a moment to the unglamorous part of my job. people things you don't really hear about, and that would be the administrative part. You know, I have to attend meetings. I've got staff I need to work with, and I guess I'm done, so I'll stop because I'm a rule follower. But I am Jeff Thode, and I'd like to be judge for another term if you'll have me. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much to the Duneland Chamber of Commerce making this possible. It's very important to be reachable. My name is Trowbridge Benko. I have lived in Northwest Indiana my whole life, and I have in that time held several jobs, worked with several committees, and then I decided to open my own family law practice and did that in 2012. I mainly focused on family law, wills, and contracts. Family law is a very important aspect to me, that people that are hurting, people that are hungry, people that don't know where to go, people who can't find a lawyer, and so forth. I make myself open to everybody. Maybe it's just a question, or they want to know what's the process, or what's the process of my case. Do I need you, and so forth. So I walk them through all of that. I did talk one gal out of filing for divorce. She called when she was mad at her husband, and I said, no, take some time, cool off. And she called me a few months later, and I suggested marriage counseling. She said, well, we'll see. She called me 4 months later, and she said, marriage is stronger than it's ever been. Stronger. She said, nobody believes me. I was turned away by an attorney. I said, well, I didn't turn you away, but I just didn't think you were there. I've practiced in many areas of the law. I spent time interning under Julia Judge Gent, who's since retired. And I'm sure you all know and remember her integrity into the judicial system. I'm looking at my notes. I've held positions in local committees, local chairs, the ones that focus on the people, getting them food baskets out for Thanksgiving, getting out there. Last year it was raining like heck, but we were filling cars up with food. That's my goal. I want to be judge. I want to use that title, use that platform to reach out to the community, especially when it deals with violence. I have a very particular set of educational qualifications. In 2001, my oldest son was brutally stabbed to death. The idiot that killed him pled not guilty by insanity. And then I started looking at the laws of that, and I'm like, oh no. Sure enough, these were antiquated laws. After his trial, he served 6 months in a mental health facility. We were called and said, he's fine now. We've got him on the right drugs, on this, it's out of his system. We feel he's ready. And when I got that call, I said, nope, I'm not gonna have it. So they held him. We had another psychiatrist in there to study him. He says, I don't think he's ready. In the meantime, while I'm writing new laws to put in, it was in the state of Nevada, to have put in the state, to go through and find a supporting legislator to help present the bill. And then I went to Las Vegas 20 times. I didn't go in and get broke, but went in there, and they were very helpful, and they allowed me to have information as it comes. And so, you can Google me and see he served 10 years, better than 6 months. So I'm very eclectic in ways to help. Thank you.
Jimmy Albarran. I'm running for Porter County Treasurer. About 9 years ago, almost to the day, I was on vacation with my wife Wanda. We were traveling across Indiana, visiting the small waterfalls of Indiana, and we were enjoying our time in October because we had the parks to ourselves. That vacation was interrupted when I received a call from the Democrat County Treasurer, Michelle Clancy, who called me to offer me an opportunity to interview for the Porter County Chief Deputy Treasurer's position. She offered me that interview because she got a hold of my resume, and it was for a job I never applied for. She saw my background in accounting, tax compliance, and it didn't bother her about party. She never asked, because the office is not political in that sense. It deals with collection of tax money. It doesn't decide spending. It doesn't decide county policy. And it was just important to have the right person for the job. So Michelle, in that interview, offered me the job on the spot. It took me a day to decide whether I wanted it. It meant less money, but it meant working locally, and that was a good thing for me, and so I took it. In those 8.5 years, I've been able to standardize our processes. I've been able to automate things through macros, scripts, SQL, improve customer care. I learned about the investment process for that office, and also the specific laws that govern that office. Each government office has specific laws to it. It takes us 2 years to train a deputy. So with the treasurer being term limited, it's important to have some continuity in the office. And that's a come I am running, so that we have that continuity. I'm well qualified for the job with my background, with the years in service in the office, doing it now. The continuity for this office is important. At the end of the day, you gotta care and have integrity to work in these government positions. I never before saw a political office. I didn't come to it because of a political reason, but now that I've been there and worked there and know the office, I want to continue to complete what I have started, what I have been doing. I care about helping taxpayers when they don't understand the tax system. I want to continue to bring improvements to the office as I have done for these 8 years. I know the areas that require focus in the next few years. I know where there's some savings in the banking costs. I know where we need to standardize addresses, working with other offices, and some areas of problems in billing. I'm Jimmy Albarran. I'm the best and most qualified for the job, and I would appreciate your vote.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Blaney, and I'm running for Porter County Treasurer. I've lived in Porter County my entire life, and I've been married to my husband Ken for the past 30 years. We've raised our 4 kids here, and we've earned our living here. We've owned several small businesses, including Kelsey's Steakhouse. And for the past 12 years, I've been your Porter County Commissioner in the South District. My experience is what sets me apart as a candidate. As Commissioner, I've been President of the Porter County Foundation for the past 5 years. Now, prior to the existence of the foundation, the proceeds from the hospital sale were only making just under $1 million a year. Then I went downstate and testified in committee as part of a bipartisan effort to get this foundation legislation passed. And today, the county budgets and spends over $6 million a year. And at the same time, we've grown the principal up to almost $200 million. And this extra money has enabled us to have the lowest tax rate in the state by almost half, county income tax rate that is. So I plan to bring the experience I gained as commissioner, interacting with both state and local officials from both parties, to bring positive change to the treasurer's office when it's needed. If I see something that isn't working well, I'm going to find a way to improve it. Whether that comes from working with other local officials or heading downstate to lobby for legislative changes, my experience will be critical to making improvements. Being county treasurer is certainly about the details. You've got to understand the numbers, know the laws, communicate critical information to the public when it's needed, but it's so much more. The treasurer is running the business of the treasurer's office. The treasurer as a leader should develop a positive and high-performing office culture. They should set goals and provide training and enhancement for their staff. The treasurer should be constantly researching ways to enhance service via improved systems and new technology that makes citizen interactions with the office as smooth, quick, and efficient as possible. Meanwhile, the treasurer should also be making sure the more basic pieces of working for the public remain strong. Every small business owner knows that one of the most basic keys to success is customer service. You can have a great product, but if you have bad customer service, the people aren't coming back. Here, our clients are the taxpayers, but they don't have the option of not coming back. Every single one of them needs to be treated like that favorite repeat customer. They should be greeted with professionalism, courtesy, respect, and a smile. I mean, no one likes paying taxes. The very least the treasurer's office can do is make it a pleasant interaction. I'll make sure that happens by hiring the right people, making sure they're well trained, supported, and held accountable. I hold bachelor's and master's degrees in science from Purdue, so I have the education and the capacity to quickly learn the nuts and bolts of this job. I also, however, bring something unique and special, and that's my experience as both a business owner and a leader in Porter County. Now, I can't promise you you're going to start looking forward to coming down to the county and paying your taxes, but I can promise you that I'll use my background in business, leadership, and relationship building to do everything I can to ensure that that experience is efficient and pain-free as possible. And today, I humbly ask you for your vote for Porter County Treasurer. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Bozak. I'd like to start off by apologizing for not being able to join you in person today, but I am very grateful to the Duneland Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event and giving me the chance to address you. As I stand here as one of your candidates for Porter County Council, I'm proud to reflect on the accomplishments we've achieved together. Having previously served on the County Council and the Burns Harbor Town Council, I know what it takes to lead with transparency, fiscal responsibility, and communication at the forefront. During my time on the County Council, I've worked hard to improve the ways that we engage with the public, making sure that residents have access to information and ensuring that we respond to concerns swiftly and clearly. I'm committed to keeping communication open, whether it's through direct emails, outreach, or even my personal cell phone number, 219-508-7152. And if you've been here before, you know that's really me. I've always believed that communication isn't just about talking, it's about listening and solving problems together. Keeping taxes low is a key priority for me, but I also believe in the importance of investing in efficient government and maintaining our infrastructure. I'm committed to exploring every possible option before we consider any tax increases. Though I understand there may be times when it's necessary to protect the quality of essential services in our community. When and if that time ever comes, it's a decision we need to approach with care and consideration. I'm honored to be endorsed by many of the local unions, and I stand with the hardworking men and women who keep our communities strong. Together, we can invest in technology and infrastructure that not only improves our quality of life, but ensures our county government runs efficiently. My wife and I are raising all 4 of our kids right here in Porter County, and that's why this work is so important to me. Whether it's serving as a coach, a community volunteer, or a council member, I believe in giving back and keeping Porter County a great place for families to live and to thrive. With your support, we can continue building a county that prioritizes transparency, responsible spending, and a strong future. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share my vision with you today and remind you that you feel free to call, text, email, anything if you have any further questions or would like to talk more. Also, please remember to vote for me, Andy Bozak, in this upcoming election. I hope you have a good morning and thank you for your time.
My name is Mike Brickner, and I'm currently the president of the Porter County Council. Running for re-election at large. Retired chief of police from Valparaiso. I served 31 years there. I served 3 years as the Porter County Public Safety Director, overseeing 911 and EMA. And born and raised in Valparaiso. I was born at the old hospital, which it's kind of cool now, is a financial benefit for the county. That I was born at the old Porter Hospital, graduated from Chesson High School. My dad went to Wheeler, he's still with us, God bless him, he's 87 years old. My mom taught at South Haven Elementary School, and I grew up in South Haven on Lahonda Drive, lived in Washington Township for 30 years. My kids graduated from Washington Township. Porter County is my home. Porter County Council responsibilities, primarily, we are the fiscal branch of the county. And in local politics, you know, I firmly believe, I strongly believe that in local politics is where things can really get accomplished. You know, I respect all of the individuals that are putting their name out and out there for you know, state positions. But the local level is where relationships and working with, it doesn't matter if you're an R or a D, where things get done. Porter County Council, we don't set policy, but we are responsible for compensating our employees. We're responsible for funding projects. There's an individual who talked about the ambulance service. That's going to be coming up. There are some big rocks that we're going to be addressing within the next year. And I was watching you know, I do watch a podcast, and he's a minister, and he was talking about how we vote and how individuals vote. A lot of individuals vote for the person, they like the person, and some individuals vote for the policy. What is the policy of that individual? As far as I'm concerned, I am not a person that grandstands. I believe in term limits. This would be my last run at county council. I don't believe that individuals should make a living off of government. I have a job, and what we do here should be a service. And we do get paid a little bit, but it should not be our income. So I do not believe that people should be doing this for too long. When we talk about policy, one thing that I will say is that when it comes to spending taxpayer money, I look at that in my role as council president this year, that I will lead the council and direct the council the best that I can in my ability to spend taxpayer money as if it were my own money. You know, we should budget as if it is the way we budget at home. And you know, that's pretty simple, but that is pretty much basically the policy part. You know, I told you a little bit about myself personally, and it was very simple, the policy part. You know, I appreciate being here. I wasn't here early. I guess this is the second event you've held. I had open heart surgery, so the guy's saying stop. I think I did an extra 30 seconds. But anyway, I appreciate your support. You know, we have a lot of work to do in the county, And we individuals that are, I haven't heard of leadership yet. We need people that are there to lead. So anyway, thank you for having me.
I am running for one of the 3 at-large seats on the Porter County Council. I will stick to my 4 minutes because I need to be back in the classroom at 11:19, and my superintendent, Chip Pettit, is here and he'll know. So I want to start by thanking the Duneland Chamber of Commerce and the Expo Center for having us again to give us another opportunity to describe why we're running for office. So as a candidate running for office, I have a lot of experience in Porter County in education. I have a lot of experience in Porter County doing those things that a candidate needs to do well in serving the people of Porter County. And I've been very busy as a candidate, like many candidates in this room, meeting people, introducing myself to people all across the county. At the 4-H fair, at people's front doors, at meet and greets, and events like this. And the 2 most common questions that I've received are you that history teacher? And why are you running for office? And I tell voters that I'm running for office because I genuinely want to do the hard work of making good decisions for our community on the Porter County Council. I believe that we need honest leaders, leaders who believe that character and decency and how we treat each other matters. Leaders that will put professionalism over personal politics to keep the focus on finding real solutions to the real challenges that we face in our community. And that's what I've done for the last 30 years. As a teacher, as a union leader, as a volunteer with Project Neighbors, and in county government on the board of directors for the Porter County Parks and Recreation. I've been a teacher at Chesterton High School since 1995, so I can legitimately say that I've been teaching history since last century. And I love what I do. Very honored to have been named the Indiana History Teacher of the Year last year. And what I've learned over the years is that just as important as the history lessons that I teach my students are the lessons in how I treat my students. And that's what we need on the Porter County Council, people who are willing to work hard and treat people right. I was very honored to be elected the co-president of the Duneland Teachers Association, where I have worked hard to increase our membership to over 97%. And that's essential as an association, so when we go to the table, we have that leverage as a teachers association to have those conversations, to bring some equilibrium to the table. And we've done well, in part because I listen, I'm responsive, and I do work hard to find real solutions to the challenges that we face in education. I was also elected the chairman of negotiations for the Duneland Teachers Association. And in that role, I have worked very hard to help increase with the administration at the Duneland School Corporation the starting Duneland teacher salary from one of the lowest in the county 7 years ago to the 3rd highest in the state. And we've done that in part because I do my homework. I come to the table prepared, and I have worked hard to help build a great working relationship with the administration and the Duneland School Corporation so we talk to each other and not at each other. And we maximize our resources to find real solutions for our students and our teachers and the community. And that is what you need on the Porter County Council, because I will be working with my Democratic and Republican colleagues alike with the Commissioner's Office to serve all of Porter County. I've also worked very hard as a union leader in our community. I grew up in a union home. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. He was a 42-year steel worker with USW 6787. So I learned very early on just how important unions are for the working men and women of our community to earn a good wage with good benefits and have safe working conditions. So I have always advocated for labor and collective bargaining rights, and I am very proud to have earned 25 union endorsements from the entire region, because labor knows that I will always stand for them, and I will always stand for labor. And on the Porter County Council, you need council members who will fight and defend a responsible bidding ordinance that we do have in Porter County, which gives our labor unions a fair opportunity to earn county contracts and Porter County an opportunity to get great work done by local labor. And those things go away if you don't have county council members who value those things. So as your county councilman, what I can guarantee you, what I can promise you is that I will continue to serve our community, as I have on Project Neighbors. Project Neighbors is a local nonprofit organization where I've helped to build attainable housing in our community so the people who work here can afford to live here. And in that role, I submitted a grant for ARPA funding for $750,000 that was awarded by the County Council that will build 24 high-efficiency studio apartments in Valparaiso for people who are on the verge of homelessness or emerging from homelessness, to give them a place to live, especially veterans, with security and dignity and purpose. And that is smart collaboration between county government, between a local nonprofit, and between federal funding. So what I can promise you is that I will always work hard and treat people right. I will always be honest, I will always listen, and I will always be responsive as your county council member. My name is Bob DeRuntz, and I ask for your support to serve our community on the Porter County Council. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you, Duneland, for having this beautiful time for us to all gather and see each other again. My name is Sylvia Graham. I've been on the Porter County Council for 16 years. I've been a part of passing 15 county budgets that were all adopted by the state. I'm presently working on the number 16, and it is a pleasure to do that. I enjoy doing that. I am a retired RN ventilator practitioner, retired 4-H leader, and I also dabbled in fishing professionally and was the women's bass fishing champion in the year 2000. I won that championship on the Niemeyer River in Gaston, Alabama, in case anybody's interested. I would like to say that budgeting is a unique process, and it does take a lot of cooperation with everyone involved. And I feel as if I've been a good player in helping others understand our options. So I'm very proud of the budgeting. Another thing is I'm very proud that I was a founding member on the foundation, and that has been a real asset to Porter County because it's helped to keep our taxes low. We get to use a portion of the interest of that money to help grow government, which keeps us from having to raise taxes. I'm also proud of the fact that in 2021, the ARPA funds came into being. Porter County got $33 million, and I feel as if we used commissioners and council came together and we formed committees and subcommittees, and we made good decisions. And not only did we shore up county government, and but we also shared it with nonprofits, and the entire county prospered with the ARP money. And it's being seen in the, you're going to ribbon cuttings and you're seeing things done. That's all likely been done because of the ARPA money. I want to say something new has been happening with our state legislators' help and the governor. The health department has become big in county government, and they have gotten grants, which has been very helpful. And they last year received $1.75 million. And I was having conversations with the department director of the health department, and kiddingly asked her if she'd like to buy Porter County Aging Community Services some buses. And she said, oh no, we couldn't do that, that's a capital project. So I said, well, they really need drivers. Could you go for a couple of part-time drivers? She said, you know, as a matter of fact, we might, because we did a survey, and that was the number one thing that headed their survey was transportation. So I'm very proud of what I've accomplished on the council, and I feel like my work is not done. I've got more to offer, And with your help and your support and your vote on November 5th, I'll continue. Thanks.
Hello there, I'm Chuck Harris, your Porter County Recorder, and this year I am not here to do my best vote for Chuck speech. I am actually here on my wife's behalf, who could not make it, so you're going to get the vote for Michelle Harris speech instead. As many of you know, Michelle's a teacher at Valparaiso High School and cannot be here today, so I'm honored to step in for her. I'll be sharing her remarks as she wrote them, no ad-libbing, so please try to picture her up here with her usual poise. Hello and good morning, everyone. I am Michelle Harris, a Republican candidate for Porter County Council at Large. I'm so sorry that I can't join you in person this morning. For those who may not know, I am a teacher at Valparaiso High School, and despite a very busy campaign season, my first obligation is to my students. Thank you to Rachel Campbell and the Duneland Chamber for hosting this event. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share the information about my candidacy. I have lived in Porter County for over 15 years, and I teach English at Valparaiso High School. I also serve as the Valparaiso High School Student Council sponsor and freshman class sponsor. I am an active member in Temple Israel and serve as the Temple Israel Board Secretary. I also sit on the Valparaiso Fire Territory Board as the Board Secretary. I am married to Chuck Harris, the Porter County Recorder, and together we have 3 children. The County Council serves as the fiscal branch of county government and has the decision-making power regarding fiscal affairs. Porter County is an incredible community, but that doesn't mean we accept the status quo. We need effective leaders on the council who are willing to grow and evolve. Council members should be creative, innovative, think outside the box, and find new solutions to old problems and adapt to new challenges with agility and fresh perspectives. I have all these qualifications, and I am committed to creating positive and lasting change. Another crucial responsibility of the County Council is also tasked with board appointments. These board appointments can have significant impact on policy decisions and the strategic direction of the county. The appointments require careful deliberation to ensure the boards are filled with capable and trustworthy individuals. Why am I running? Throughout my career as a teacher, I have demonstrated my ability to communicate effectively with diverse audiences and to lead organized groups. I am running because I have spent my career investing in the future of our community, our children. But I believe I have even more to offer to make Porter County an even better place to live, work, and play. My top 3 priorities are public safety, infrastructure, and government transparency. There is no greater responsibility of our government than public safety. I am committed to standing with our first responders, ensuring the proper funding and training for our community sheriff's department, and working with law enforcement and our county judicial systems to ensure each is equipped to continue to make Porter County the safest county in Northwest Indiana. Our roads, bridges, and public infrastructure are another critical responsibility of our county government. I believe that Porter County should be a place where people from all ages and walks of life should be able to live, work, and enjoy a good quality of life. We cannot do that by being reactive. We must be proactive with our roads, parks, and public infrastructure. Access to transparent government and government information allows citizens to make informed decisions about their lives, communities, and future, and holds our elected officials accountable. I would like to find more effective and organized method for communicating with citizens, making it easier for them to obtain useful information and access county and community service. It is our civic duty to respond to questions and concerns from the people of Porter County promptly and give all of our citizens voice, much like being able to my students and their parents. I will be available by phone, email, or in person to hear community concerns. In conclusion, I have run out of time, so thank you very much.
All right, everyone, we're almost there. My name is Erik Wagner, and I'm happy to have the last name Wagner because I get to make that same joke every time we have one of these. 8:30 in the morning is a little early, but I'm happy to see everyone here, and you've heard that time and time again from every candidate because we are. And one of the most important things is people get involved. And I've been involved for about 15 years now, county council, county councilman, town of Porter councilman, been on the redevelopment commission, currently serve on the board of zoning appeals. I've been actively involved in local government for years. My family owns a small business. You might have heard of it, Wagner's Ribs in Porter. Just had 36-year anniversary. And one of the things that's really important to me, really important to my business, is tourism in the county. Ecotourism is something that we lack on and is rarely even talked about. We have one of the greatest natural resources with Lake Michigan, the national park, in our backyard. We need to do more getting people to stay in the community when they come on vacation. We need them to shop, we need them to go to the restaurants, we need them to be here longer than just a day. And one thing, the next thing that comes with having a last name that starts with a W, we've heard so many great speeches today. We've heard some great candidates. A major question I have for everybody in this room, raise your hand if you're an undecided voter at a local level. What we got? We got one person, I love it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, I'm Erik Wagner, Porter County Council. You can email me, Erik, E-R-I-K, Wagner00@gmail.com. And I look forward for hearing one question, maybe two. But it's great to have people here. It's great to have people so well informed in this election. Because a couple years ago, something happened, I heard at the state convention. Indiana isn't a red state. Indiana isn't a blue state. It's a purple state with low voter turnout. If we get people out, the game changes. And I want to see it. My name is Erik Wagner. Thank you everyone for coming out.
Good morning. My name is Jocelyn Hibshman. Thank you for coming out today. I have been a volunteer for a long time, but never one that had to get up and run for office, so I'm new to this. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event and giving me a chance to speak. So as I said, my name is Jocelyn Hibshman. I am running for the Duneland School Board at-large seat. As a school board member, our responsibility is the strategic planning of the mission, values, and goals of the district. Financial oversight and approval of the budget, policy development and oversight, hiring and evaluating the school superintendent, and community engagement. I feel that my experience over the last 20 years as working for a for-profit organization, volunteering for many nonprofit organizations, and raising 2 children in the Duneland community has prepared me for a seat on the Duneland School Board. I've held executive leadership positions with Lakeside Wealth Management, was responsible for the strategic planning of the organization, annual budget and daily expenses, employee management and benefits, and in community engagement. I've worn many hats as a volunteer. I've volunteered for Rebuilding Together, Duneland, for over 14 years, housing opportunities until 2023 when they became co-action, and the Duneland YMCA, currently sitting on a committee, chairing a committee for the Duneland YMCA Healthy Living Community. As part of those organizations, I've been responsible for planning of the organization, financial oversight, board leadership, policy development, hiring and evaluation of the CEOs, and community engagement. As a mother of 2, I've actively participated in my children's education from kindergarten to the graduation for the in the Duneland school community. My daughter's currently at IU, but the beautiful part of the Duneland School Dual Credit Program, she's actually studying abroad in Copenhagen right now for the whole semester. My son will graduate this May, and he is working on enlisting in the United States Coast Guard. In 2019, I was asked to be the co-chair of the Duneland School Referendum Political Action Committee to get the vote passed for the referendum. I will support that vote again in 2026. During my time on that PAC, I learned what it takes to run a high-quality school district. I had the pleasure of getting to know many Duneland school teachers, staff, and administrators that came out to help get that vote passed. I saw firsthand how much they care about our school system and their desire to provide the best education for our children. I'm proud of our school district and our Duneland community, and I believe that strong schools make a strong community. I'm community-minded, a strategic thinker, approachable, kind, and I believe we can solve many problems through collaboration. I'm ready and eager to contribute my experience and dedication to the Duneland School District and support my community as a Duneland School Board member. My name is Jocelyn Hibshman, and I ask for your vote in this election.
Hi, I'm Noreen Legan, and I'm running for school board, Chesterton, in the Chesterton area and Duneland area. I'm here to tell you about who I am, introduce myself to you, and and why I qualify for this position. I'm going to start by telling you how I started. I was a high school dropout. That qualifies me. At 17, coming from a very low-income family, I was a high school dropout. I was the youngest of 9, and only one of my siblings graduated from high school. So the history that went through. But that was at 17. By 18, I was pregnant and on the street. I met a man with 5 children that was newly divorced, and I started working for him. We wound up in a 32-year relationship. So I had a baby, and I had 5 children, his, to raise. I raised all of them, and then after many years, we had 8 more. 3 more. It's a total of 9 children I raised in the Duneland community. Those 9 children are, I have 2 that are medical doctors. I have 2, one that's an economist, one that has a ranch, but at one time in Alaska he was principal of a school. And I have a daughter that was at Broward University in Florida as head of the communication department, and she wrote textbooks, which Florida has bought and have in their schools now. I have a son that does body work on cars, not himself. Well, yeah, himself too. But, and then I have 2 children who have died in this community from drug overdose. My heart is for the kids. I went back to school when I was 28, got my GED, went to college, had to do an extra year of college just to get the classes in to qualify for my degree. I wound up with a bachelor at Purdue University in supervision. I'm dyslexic, and it was discovered at that time when I was in college that I was dyslexic. Business was not a good element for me because my dyslexia really points out in numbers. It really shows up in numbers when I'm working with numbers. So I wound up being leader in many organizations in the community. Like I say, I raised my children in the Duneland communities, and I was active with their education. You could see the achievement they've had. I was an interpreter for the deaf at Bailey School and worked with many of the deaf children there. My heart is for the children. And today I'm so concerned about the children getting the education and learning how to think. They need to be taught how to think. I was a teacher. I wound up being a teacher in the Chicago inner city schools. I was an award-winning teacher there. And I wound up, I had in my 5th grade class, I had 5 students that came into my class could not read. That was a very successful year for those students and for myself as I won in reading and math. I've been going to the Duneland School meetings for the past 3.5 years. I keep informed in what's going on at the schools. I think I'm a good candidate, and it's all about the children. It's all about the children. It's all about the children and their future. Thank you.